We watched Wonder Woman 1984.
Try and sound a bit more excited about it.
And because we can't all get together, we thought we would
Because of the lockdown!
Because of the lockdown, we thought, oh, we'll watch a film and we'll record it separated like this, where I'm sure we'll have just as much fun as we always do. And it means that we can deliver less quality content, but more often.
Because that's what everyone wants nowadays. Quantity over quality.
It opens with kind of a flashback life lesson for Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman as a child, competing in some kind of Olympic-style triathlon for the things, which looks nice. Nonsense. She cheats and gets told no true hero is born from lies. It is relevant to the overall story.
The whole theme of the story is no shortcuts, isn't it?
There's just a massive continuity flaw as soon as it starts. One of the key points in the original film around her origin story was that her mum doesn't want her trained.
Who would wield it?
Only the fiercest among us even could. And that is not you, Diana.
We then jump forward to 1984, get a snazzy logo. She's working for the Smithsonian as some kind of old thing inspector or whatever it is.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what she did.
No, she just floats around speaking lots of languages and knowing everything about everything from the looks of it.
Right, okay.
We get introduced to Kristen Wiig.
Barbara?
Yeah. Dorky new woman.
Sexy librarian, I think.
Yeah.
She's playing like Michelle Pfeiffer before she comes Catwoman.
Exactly that. Literally that. But she's got a load of old soot on her desk, which includes a MacGuffin that looks like a rampant rabbit made of stone, which is a wish-granting stone. She then obviously thinks about her wish, which would be to bump uglies again with Chris Pine from the first movie, but he's dead. Then Kristen Wiig wishes for something. Then you get introduced to Pedro Pascal, who's playing this kind of washed up or not very successful Ponzi scheme type gold merchant type thing. And then it all just goes to shit, really.
Why are you doing this? Don't you have enough?
Why not more? Why not wish for more?
You get this Dreamstone thing, everyone starts making wishes, everyone pays a price for those wishes. Chris Pine comes back from the dead in the weirdest circumstances. Kristen Wiig eventually turns into Chitara from the Thundercats, and Pedro Pascal stands in a weird light, realises the error of his ways after getting a speech from Wonder Woman, and then basically everyone renounces their wishes and everything goes back to being fine, and that's it. That's the movie.
That's it.
All of that takes 2.5 hours. I wouldn't mind it if it didn't have Gal Gadot playing Diana Prince. She's just dull.
Yeah, she's really dull.
Dull and ridiculous. She's not helped in this by appalling writing, terrible dialogue.
Also true.
Because Chris Pine comes across pretty bad in this.
Diana.
Excuse me, I don't even know you, so please stop following me.
I don't know why they decided to do this, but he shows up in someone else's body, and he speaks to her, and then when he says his little line to her or whatever, she goes, "Oh my God, it's you, Steve!" And all of a sudden, that's it. She believes it's Steve, absolutely, and it is. So she's not wrong, but
it's a bit convenient how quickly she just goes, "Oh yeah, it's you."
Never mind how conveniently she thinks that. Why does it need to be another person?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Doesn't make any sense.
Because at different points in the film, things happen that are materialised out of nothing. Yeah. So why does has she, in her silent wish, has she secretly wished for someone else to turn into Steve Trevor?
They don't seem to really wrestle with it very much.
They didn't do anything with it at all, really.
She says, after about a minute or two of this sort of weird situation, she says, "Oh, I only see you." And then that's it. This is a guy who is you're inhabiting his body, so there's no mention of where he's gone. But all right, like does I don't know how much that really matters overall. You're using his body to get into gunfights and fight with what are ostensibly other superheroes when you're just a normal man. Yep. You then use his body to have sex with Wonder Woman. It's implied that they have sex.
They share a bed, but
there's been a lot of controversy apparently about the fact that there is no question of his consent being granted.
Yeah.
In this situation.
True.
And all of it is just like, but this didn't even need to be a thing. He could have just walked into a room and she could have been like, where did you come from? And he's like, I don't know.
I'll always love you, Diana.
Yeah, and then she leaps off into the sky, whips onto a passing plane, and then she sort of launches herself into the sky, and she's sort of being propelled through the sky just through force alone. And then she starts hearing Steve's words from the plane they were in about how you fly. It's just about air, and essentially he kind of just went, oh, you just got to trust it. And then while she's doing this, she's in the air going like this, and then she just waves her hands around a little bit, get the old rudders right, and that's it. She can fly. That's it, done. All of the things they tried to do, if you're just sort of laying out the skeleton of a plot, makes sense. But they've just not written it very well. So it just turns into her launching herself into the sky, thinking about flying, and then doing it.
If we were doing a So Bad It's Good, I think you'd find this hilarious.
It was dull. It was so boring. Even the mildly funny things were just like...
I'm with Tom. I think if we had been sat in a group watching this, we'd have had quite a fun time pulling it to pieces.
Ridiculous, and there is no logic to most of everything that gets set up in this film, and things can just happen because the writers have decided
it needs to happen.
It needs to happen. Yeah, exactly. The biggest example of that is when she's in the jet that they steal.
Oh my god.
Well, Wonder Woman says they'll track you by radar. And
she forgot to mention that.
She says, oh, hang on a minute. I can do this thing that might make us invisible. That we've never seen, by the way. This is just sprung on us at this scene.
Once in the last 50 years. Last 50 years.
It was something
she's been practicing this for the last 50 years, and the one thing she's been able to make disappear is a coffee cup.
Chris Pine's character, his name I don't even know.
Steve Trevor. It's Steve Trevor. I only remember it because it's such a boring name.
So he's from the early 1900s. Now I appreciate the physics of actually like a plane moving through air and sort of rising and lifting and turning are essentially the same. I don't understand how he could just jump into a highly specialised jet engine and just fly it.
There is a nice visual in that bit where they fly through the fireworks, because it just so happens it's the 4th of July. There's a nice visual in that, but...
He questions what fireworks are.
Yeah, like he's never seen...
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure they came before gunpowder.
I think they were invented before civilization. It's one of them things. They've been around for centuries.
Have you ever been on a bike where you slow down on the bike to the point where balance becomes impossible? Well, the plane that they're in is a jet fighter, and if you go slow enough to cruise through the July the 4th things, from what I read, you would literally just stall and plummet.
So let's talk about Pedro Pascal then. I really enjoyed his character until his character went off the rails. Like, when he does this whole... He meets Kristen Wiig and he woos her a little bit and he's all chatty and, everything's
all
wonderful.
Charming and
then he goes to his office and you see his office is empty and there are just phones and with desks where no one's there, and his son's there, and some bloke comes in and calls him a loser in front of his son. Like, I was like, this is kind of good.
I wish to be you, the Dream Stone itself.
Pedro Pascal has been granting wishes for lots and lots of people. Later on, he talks to the president of the United States and he grants him the wishes of, I need more nuclear weapons.
More nuclear weapons? More than they have?
Pedro goes, what's all this stuff behind me that I've just randomly walked into? And he goes, oh, that's our new thing where we can beam anything into any home. And by the way, any 1984 PC. Apparently.
Bathes the landscape in a signal of particles that goes in and fiddles with any technology it touches. You said touches?
That doesn't excuse the rule you set up. That doesn't change the rules of the monkey paw.
But again, why not just take that thing out, that idea out of having to touch it?
So he starts telling everyone, have wishes, do more wishes, I want your wishes and all this. And slowly the world around him, it's going to pot. It's just anarchy. It's going absolute crazy. All of this madness is happening, even though he can't touch them. Wonder Woman comes in and she says, stop it. And she gets the camera.
Stop it, Thomas.
Stop it. And she gets the camera and she throws it away, which I was like, smart. That's the first thing you should do. Get rid of the camera. I was like, brilliant. Then he decides that if he stands in the centre where the light is, which I assume is meant to be the transmitter, he is still transmitting to everyone on the screen with no camera.
Because the particle, he doesn't need to be transmitting to the people because the particles touch everyone. The particles come down from, so it's not even about, the fact that they can see him on the screen is just his way of telling them to make a wish. The actual wishing is granted through the particles because that's how it's explained.
I've got to be honest, I really checked out at this point.
I'd
given up. I did not want to watch the rest of it particularly. I just suffered it. I did come in and out of the room a few times because there was nothing in this film left for me anymore. And then she just sits down and has a little whinge at him and sort of tells him he's been a naughty boy, and that's it.
This film, for me, is about her getting over her first love. Because she after 60 years, she still hasn't gotten over him.
But then she says to him, I'll never love anyone else. And he sort of looks at her and goes, well, that's silly.
But I think that's what it's meant to do. I think it is meant to be I'm over him now and I can move on. I think it's meant to be that. Because that's the point, right? Is that Wonder Woman has gone through this growth and by the end of it, she's gotten over 60 years of her from this guy that she met for 3 weeks, right? That's her arc. Kristen Wiig it should have been that the confidence and her sexuality was within her to begin with. She didn't need to take off her glasses. And being at high heels is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. She didn't need that. She didn't need the wish. She didn't need to cheat to get there. That should have been the message from her, and it doesn't. They never land it. They still could have done it. Yeah,
they could have done all of that stuff, and this would have been a much more entertaining film than it was. The problem I had is none of these messages really hit home in any way.
It's so far taken just shy of $120 million gross box office.
Jesus.
Worldwide. That's off a 200 million budget, so they're a little short, although they did see an uptick in HBO Max subscriptions, and they reckon that about 30% of those who subscribed only subscribed to watch this movie, so it's probably made a lot of money for them, but I don't think that's included. One of the things that might explain why Gal Gadot wasn't trying very hard, in the first movie, her salary, $300,000.
Really?
So therefore, she obviously wanted to earn the opportunity for a sequel. Sequel salary, $10 million. So she got paid $10 million for the sequel, which is probably why she's just dialed it in. She's like, well, doesn't matter, does it? It's a terrible script, but whatever. I'm getting 10 million quid. It's the 9th DC Extended Universe movie. It's 2 hours and 31 minutes long, and it's only the 5th longest film that they've made.
Really?
The release date of this movie has changed 7 times.
Yeah. It got delayed, and then COVID hit as well.
Only three of those were COVID related.
Yeah, it had been delayed.
So 4 of them were they just moved it about a lot before anything was going wrong.
That makes sense, really, because this film is a mess.
If you liked this, what should they do, Chris?
Like and subscribe, maybe even give it a little share.
Watch our other videos. Comment on those as well.
They're more entertaining than Wonder Woman 1984.
We've put out some real quality content that at least 7 people will agree is quality content.
Yeah, and that's...
Make yourself number 8.
Also, our numbers are growing, so I just want to say, look, you're in the under 500 club, which
could
I think
yeah, you're technically you're a trendsetter.
Under 500, you're a part of a special gang, the BTB Under 500 gang, and
and you could be in that club for a very long time.